What's going on, everybody? So I just finished up a killer week driving for Uber. Made over $1,000 after gas driving the Thanksgiving holiday. And the holidays are usually really good for Uber drivers because there's less drivers on the road. There's more people traveling out of town, and you get a lot of movement, people willing to give tips. So, really good week for me. And I wanted to share with you guys 5 tips, 5 strategies in order for you guys to maximize your earnings while you're out on the road logged into Uber. I've been driving for around 5 years. I usually stick to the weekends. So I'll drive between 15 and 20 hours. And my weekend goal is to make $300. So I try to make $300 every weekend doing those hours. And I want to help you guys maximize your earnings while you're logged into the Uber app. So the first one of those tips is that time is money. So you want to make sure that you get your passenger from point A to point B as fast as possible while still maintaining the safety and not putting anyone in the car or in any other vehicles at risk. So we're not paid to sit around at red lights. We're not paid to sit around in traffic. So you want to be as efficient as possible. If you're at a 50-50 red light, if you want to maximize your earnings, you're going to try to be as safe as possible. But at the same time, like if you can clear the light and not put anyone at risk, that's what you want to do. Because if you're at 100 red lights per day, if you're doing a bunch of different rides, if you stop at every single one of those red lights, that time adds up. Those are precious minutes that you could be, moving towards your destination and working towards picking up that next ride. So, drive safely, but also you want to have a sense of urgency whenever you're driving. Which leads into the second tip, which is that safety is number one. So, although you want to have a sense of urgency and you want to get your passenger from point A to point B, you also want to be safe. You want to make sure that your passenger feels safe, because if your passenger feels safe, then they'll be a lot more likely to give you a tip. So that's a huge thing. If they feel like for whatever reason they're not safe, if you're jerky with your driving style, if you're braking super hard, or if you're taking off super fast whenever you're driving, your passenger's not going to feel safe and they're going to be less likely to give you a tip. And kind of like swinging back to that first tip, that time is money. If you're taking off super fast, you're going to be using up a lot more gas. So on those longer rides, those airport rides, like my airport is the Newark Airport in New Jersey. Those rides you do a lot better on gas mileage because highway miles are significantly better. It's like 20-30% more efficient as far as your gas expenditures riding on the highway. So that also applies to whenever you're taking off, from a stoplight or from a stop sign. You don't want to be like smashing on the gas because you're going to be spending more gas, burning more fuel, and it's going to be affecting your earnings at the end of the day. So you want to drive smooth. You want to brake like a taxi driver. So, or not a taxi driver. That's probably not a good example, but brake like a limo driver, because this is an exclusive experience whenever they're driving with you. You want them to feel safe and feel like your customer service and your service is top notch, so you can earn those extra tips, as well as maintaining and understanding that you don't want to spend, or you don't want to be expending all that extra gas for a minimal return. So the third tip I want to give you guys is that your playlist is going to be key. So a lot of times I've been on rides where we don't really say much. Like they'll get in the car, I'll ask them how they're doing, and they might not be in the mood to talk, or they're not a super talkative passenger. That's fine, but I make sure that I have a solid playlist, that I have a little bit of something for everyone. Some timeless classics, a mixture of genres that flows together, and something that I really like putting people on to new music. So I'm not gonna go super deep into like some super obscure songs that nobody knows, but I want some classics that a lot of people know, and if they don't know it, it's a good song and people can appreciate it and might want to go and look up the song. Oh, what song is this? I get that question. Oh, what song is this? Or, people looking up the song, and just a good vibe overall. Because you have a good vibe in the car, you're driving them safe, you're getting them where they need to go. That's what they're paying for. That's why they use the Uber service, to get where they need to go and to be safe and survive the ride getting there. So you want to make sure you have some kind of playlist organized and constructed. And I'll link my playlist in the down below in the description. But you guys are going to want something that you can listen to over and over and over and over again, because you're going to do hundreds or dozens or however many hours, whatever your strategy is. I'm on the road all the time, so I just need music that I can listen to, but also that other people are going to appreciate, and maybe throw you a tip afterwards. Because like I said, with those long rides, they might not say a lot, the person who's in the ride, but if they appreciate the music, they might throw you a tip. So I've had some of those rides to the airport where I got the playlist on. They haven't said much, but I'll get a $20 tip at the end of the ride. So part of it's the safety, I'd imagine, but I think that part of that is that the playlist, they're in the back vibing, feeling good, and feeling in the mood to give you some extra money for the tip. The fourth tip, and this is one that like a lot of people don't know, especially your newer drivers. You guys have been driving for a while, you've probably experienced this at least once, but the cops will let you go if you get pulled over, and not if you're like speeding 30 over the speed limit, but if you're going 10 over, 15 over, or they catch you, driving in somewhere you're not supposed to be driving, the road's closed off or whatever. If you tell them that you're on a ride, you're driving for Uber, you're at work, most of the time they will let you go. So I've been pulled over at least 4 or 5 times with passengers and without passengers. And whenever they see that Uber sticker, and whenever I show them that, like, hey, I'm just working, I just dropped this guy off, like, they're going to let you go. So that's not a pass to drive like an idiot, but that is something to consider whenever you're at a 50-50 light and there's nobody around. Sometimes you got to take that, because again, time is money. You don't want to be waiting around. You want to get point A to point B. If the cops come, make sure you have your paperwork ready. Let them know you're working, and they'll let you go most of the time. I've yet to get a ticket driving for Uber. I've done over 3,000 rides, been pulled over, and like they'll let you go. They understand that you're working, you're providing a service, and most of them will just let you go, let you do what you have to do. Now, the last of the 5 tips is that you want to have a system, not a schedule. So this is what's going to help you maintain your momentum. If you have a schedule, all right, I have to get up at exactly 5 o'clock in the morning, and I have to drive exactly until noon, and then I'm going to eat, or I drive exactly from 8 p.m. to 12 p.m., that becomes a chore for you, because you have to hit these exact deadlines, and that just gives you more stress that you have to be exact about the hour. You want to have a general idea for how you make money. You want to know how much money you're making per hour after gas, and you want to have a goal in mind for how much money you want to make or how many hours you want to drive. So like I mentioned earlier, I want $300 per weekend. I'm going to drive Friday nights after work. So sometimes I'll drive right after work, right after I get off of work. I'll drive and I'll do a few hours, try to make about $100 or so. Sometimes I'll eat and take a nap and then go out and try to make my $100. Then I'll drive in the morning early. So I'll try to get those people going to work on Saturday morning. If I can get up at 4 o'clock, I'll go out and drive those super early workers to work. And, I'll drive until around lunchtime. If I can't get up at 4 and I'm up at 5 or 6:30, that's fine. But like the morning on Saturdays when I'm going to start, I'm going to stop around lunchtime, take a break for a couple hours, then get back out there for the Saturday afternoon people getting off of work. Sunday, I like to be done by around lunchtime, so I'll get up as early as possible. Whenever I'm up and ready to make some money, I'll get up, go for a few hours until around lunchtime. If I can be done at 10 p.m. or a.m., then I'll be done. If I have to go until 11 or 12, then that's what I'll do. But I know I want to make $300. I know when I want to drive, around how much I need to drive, and I stick with that system. So that is what's going to give you longevity. That's what's going to keep you in your groove and give you momentum to keep driving every weekend. So I've been doing this for 5 years. I've taken breaks here and there, but I know my weekend schedule I've got it down to a science now. So it's not a hard thing for me to get out, drive in the morning. I don't have to I'm not hitting snooze. I just wake up whenever I wake up and I get on the road and I start making money. So those are some of the tips that I have for you to maximize your earnings on Uber. And you can do really well on Uber depending on your city. I mean, even if you're in a smaller town, you just want to find out the best way to go about it. Maybe you want to drive into the city to make money. I live in Allentown, Pennsylvania, so it's like a smaller city. I usually stick around here. I know that the longer rides, those airport rides to Newark or to Philadelphia, do really well because of the gas mileage. And, I figured out my system. But I'll come back to you guys with some more tips and some more updates on my Uber experience. If you have any questions or anything that you want to say about Uber, go ahead and drop those down in the comment box, and I'll get back with you guys next time.